There we go. Okay, Carl Teed has joined us, and he is coming over to the panelist side.
Can you see me now?
Oh,
Here we are.
There we go.
You're like me, you wear headsets.
I do. It's a way to stay focused and concentrated.
That's right. And not have your cat interrupt you like mine always does.
No cats, fortunately, yes. But no, I moved my office to Sausalito a few months ago from after 30 years in San Francisco. And I have to say, I quite enjoy it.
Great.
But so yeah.
I don't think there's anything in San Francisco these days right now, although maybe it's coming back. I don't know.
It's coming. Well, it'll be slow. It's going to be a slow process. And unfortunately, yeah, just driving through there the other day, the magnitude of what needs to be changed is pretty epic.
I still keep an office address in San Francisco, but I haven't been there in months.
Well, shall we introduce ourselves?
Yes, Carl, why don't you start and then we'll go around the room.
Sure, I'm Carl Tata. I've lived in Larkspur now for about 20 years, although I'm a San Francisco native. I moved to Marin kicking and screaming, and now I would not move back. I've got two boys, both went through the whole Larkspur school district. My youngest graduated 2 years ago from Redwood, the oldest 3 years ago, and he's now a senior at Boston University. Married to my wife Janine for many years, and so yeah, we live right off of Piedmont Court, not too far from downtown. So enjoy strolling downtown, and that's one of the best parts of living in Larkspur is this great community that we have. So I'm looking forward to trying to give a little bit back.
Well, good. I'll start the city council round robin here. I think I'm on. And this is, I'm Kevin Haroff. I'm a city council member since 2013, I think. Catherine, is that right?
That's right.
She and I are joint alumni. But I do appreciate your reference to Boston University because that is where I started my law school career. I didn't finish it there, but I did start there, and it was a pleasant experience. So anyway, that I had to get that in. Anyway, let's go to next. Since Helmer's not here, Catherine, you're next.
Hi, welcome. I'm trying to get my light to work there. Catherine Way. I've lived in Larkspur since 2005, and I'm a Bay Area native also, and elected. This is the end of my second term next year. Elected the same time Kevin Haroff was in 2013. So thank you for applying to this. I'm very interested in hearing a little about what your background is so that how it applies. And I remember a guy named Fritz who owned a big shipping company one time years ago. I don't know if you remember him, but we'll move on.
Okay, name rings a bell. Yeah, nice to meet you.
Yeah, hi, I'm Gabe Paulson, and also on the council, not as long as these seasoned veterans. I've just been this now, but it was great to read over your resume, and I felt like between your maritime knowledge and your wine knowledge and your Boy Scout knowledge and all this, it would be really great to get to know you sometime offline. But anyway, it seems like you have a lot of enthusiasm and participation activity in the community, which is great. And yeah, look forward to hearing a little bit more. So welcome.
Great, thanks, Gabe.
So good. I don't think this will take long, but before we get started, I thought, Carl, I just ask you why it is that you thought this was interesting to you to be involved with.
Sure. Thanks, Kevin. Yeah, obviously, roads in Larkspur. I'm not the only one who drives them every day, and while they are getting better, certainly before Measure B was passed, it was in a sad state of affairs, and our roads and living in the canyon in particular are in pretty dire straits. So yeah, rather than just kind of complaining and grumbling about it, here's an opportunity to actually kind of be involved and learn a little bit more about the process you know, I'm glad to see that you know, steps were taken to, you know, to address this issue. And you know, I don't know a lot about how city council works in small cities, but I have had over the course of you know, living in Larkspur and working with you know, communities like the Boy Scouts, you know, meet people like Larry Chu, who was actively involved. And I always figured, well, if Larry can, you know, can figure it out, you know, get involved in these things, then I can too. I also know Bob Ravazzi on the other side in Corte Madera. And so I feel kind of important a little bit for us to, no more than a little bit, but important for us to you know, to be involved. I am in the international shipping business, and I used to do pre-pandemic travel about 3 to 4 months out of the year. So that always kind of precluded really being involved in a more intensive aspect of a volunteer organization. But now, after the last 2 years of not traveling and realizing that, you know, I don't really need to travel that much, I don't anticipate traveling that much anymore. So that does open up opportunities to do something like this and be a little bit more in touch and involved, and really kind of getting to know a little bit more about the process of how our city works. And this is one way for me to do that.
And just before I pass it on to my fellow council members, do you have any concerns about the way in which the road pavement project has been going forward over the last couple of years? Because we're well into it now.
Yeah, no, I'm glad to see that it's progressing. I wish my street had been on the earlier draw, but you know, it's not, so that's okay. But other than that, yeah, no, I'm encouraged that, you know, progress is being made, and like to, you know, see how you know, where we are versus where we expect it to be, and kind of get into a little bit to the numbers and see how this process works a little bit. So
Just for information, my street was actually coincidentally early on in the process, and it's already getting beaten up. So your help and oversight would be very helpful. Catherine, why don't you go ahead?
Sure. I appreciate that insight. I see in the bottom of your paper mention that this is your second time applying for the Measure B Oversight Committee. Do you can you share with us what happened the first time?
I think I was just, you know, that was when the committee was being set up, and I think there were more people applied than they needed. So
Okay.
I didn't, you know, that was fine.
Okay.
And so I just, when I just happened to be going to the website again, and I saw this popped up, I was like, oh, that rings a bell. And,
Great.
So, yeah.
You've mentioned that you're in line, your street is in line. One of the issues that sometimes we hear from the council early on from the council position was a lot of neighborhoods asking for their street to be bumped up. And we're pretty firm about the scientific analysis that's been done about the pavement and the prioritization data that we have. Are you familiar with any of that?
Not in great detail, but you know, I know that, for example, I can just speak from direct experience with our particular road. It was in such bad shape that I think they did go through and put a little temporary cap on it because really it was, you know, the bedrock was kind of, you know, spewing out. No, I'm totally understand that, you know, in a situation like this, in a project like this, you can't do everything all at once. I mean, it has to be a measured you know, process. And you know, I'm certainly not an expert on paving, and I would defer, you know, that's why, you know, you have people who would come in and explain, you know, what's a way to do this, and yeah, there has to be some sort of neutral way to kind of get through all this, you know, it's a multi-year process, and clearly can't be paving in the middle of winter either. And so, yeah, no, I think it's the way, I don't see any problem with the way I think it all ended up is a good way to execute this. And I totally understand that, you know, I mean, probably some of this, you know, there's, you know, this whole infrastructure, and I see a little bit about it, having to deal with the maritime side and understand, you know, really how things get beat up as well. And you know, we do the best that we can. When you're trying to raise money, you're limited with how much you can do. It might be great to be able to dig down 10 feet and rebuild the roads from the bottom up, but obviously we can't do that. So, you know, we can only do what we can do. So from that respect, I think how it's been done and the big overview of what I've seen, it seems to be a fine and fair process.
Thank you for that. I don't have anything else.
Great. No, thanks. Gabe, anything for you?
Yeah, thanks, Kevin. So, Carl, just two questions. One, I was wondering if you have had a chance to look over the 5-year road repair plan. It's posted on our website, on the City of Larkspur website.
Yeah, I'm familiar with it. I've seen the the different colors and the ribbons, and I think we're about halfway through, as far as I understand, and I think getting that whole plan, was it go through 2024, 2025, I think, is a good way forward. So I've seen a little bit of that, and I think it encompasses pretty much the entire city.
Yeah, I think that's right. That's right. And my second question was, kind of going along the lines of what, Catherine was asking as well. Well, in the resume, I really like the way you sort of summarized what the job is, in saying, fulfilling the wish of the voters. So, oversight really is to see if Measure B is conforming to, what the voters asked for. And, given that you've served, you've been serving on a couple boards, what might be red flags for you, in the street paving or in the plan? What would you, be on the lookout for, issues that you might see as red flags?
Well, I would say things that that would maybe take pause of not fulfilling, or not maybe holding back, say, oh, well, we want to maybe divert some of these funds for some other important project, but that's not necessarily what these funds were allocated for. And if I'm not mistaken, I think everything's run through the general fund of the city. So just making sure that really, this is an additional, increase in taxes that the citizens agree to, that is specifically earmarked for fixing the roads, and it really shouldn't be used for anything else. So that would be like the biggest red flag, I think.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Great. Anything else, Gabe?
No, thank you.
Okay, good. Well, we only got 3 of us here. This is very helpful. And again, I want to express great appreciation for your participation in this. Looks like maybe you signed. No, there you are. Just switched over, Carl, to another spot on my screen. So thank you very much for your participation. And I do like the BU connection, and you and I should talk about that a little bit more, and also about your maritime experience. That's something that I have a little tiny bit in my background as well.
Well, I look forward to the opportunity.
Okay, great. So why don't it's about 6:25, 6:24 right now. So this was a preliminary session before we get into the real meeting. Thanks very much.
Okay, and I understand I'll hear back from you all later in the week or next week.
In due course.
Okay,
so
fantastic.
Thanks
Great.
very much.
Well, nice meeting you all. I look forward to the opportunity, and good luck with the rest of your civic duties, and hope again we'll talk soon.
Thank you very much for participating.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Okay. Allison, so we're at 6:25. Do we have like 5 minutes? I gotta go grab some water and I'll be right back. Are we staying on this?
Yes,
we staying on this Zoom call?
We will, yes. Please stay connected and just come back at 6:30.
Okay, I'll be back in like 2 minutes.